With the 2020 NBA season just being completed and the NBA just announcing that the offseason and free agency will be starting in December, it has given me the idea to talk about all of the free agent moves from last offseason, which was one of the most eventful off seasons in history, with many star players changing teams. Please like this video because it helps my channel grow. Also subscribe to the channel to help me reach 500 subscribers before the end of 2020, and comment on this video to start a conversation with me in the comments. Also play that intro. First transaction we will talk about is the Brooklyn Nets signing both Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. When this trade first happened, everyone was shocked because the Nets were not considered one of the contenders to sign either of them, and I'm pretty sure most people didn't expect them to be a super good this season since KD wasn't playing, but in the future they look very scary. And they look like they can compete for the titles, because if you have two top 5 skilled players and a top 12 player in Kyrie and the second best player in the league in Durant, there's no doubt you will be competing for the ring. I would give this move an A because at the end of the day, the Nets moved themselves from a fringe playoff team to a contender. And even if Kevin Durant isn't 100%, even if he returns 80%, that's still a top 10 player. And Brooklyn in one move went from a 7th or 8th seed to contenders, so I see nothing wrong with this move. Next transaction we will talk about is the LA Clippers signing Kawhi Leonard and trading for Paul George. And this trade was one of the most shocking and out of nowhere trades ever, with there being no rumors about this. But when this trade happened, it instantly made the Clippers the favorites, and throughout the season, even though overall they were good, they were very inconsistent, with them looking like title favorites some nights and then looking like straight up trash others. But even with all of that, they were still the favorites to win the championship in the bubble. But embarrassingly, they blew a 3-1 lead to the Denver Nuggets, with both of the players that they acquired in PG and Kawhi playing bad in Game 7. Even though the Clippers lost so embarrassingly, I still think they can compete for a championship and should be a top 3 contender next season. And for that, I give them an A- because they still have placed themselves in contention for the championship. They don't get an A or an A+ simply because of how disappointing the season was, but if they can win the championship next season, all will be forgiven. But if they don't even make the finals this next year, the grade can fall down to a C, because when they traded for Paul George, they gave up multiple first-round picks and a quality starter in Danilo Gallinari and a future young star in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The next transaction I will be talking about is the Houston Rockets trading for Russell Westbrook. And this trade was initially viewed with many questions, since James Harden and Russell Westbrook are extremely ball dominant and have shown to be very unreliable in the playoffs. This move was seen as a high risk and a high reward move, because Houston looked like they could be a dumpster fire or be a contender against the two LA teams. Throughout the season, Houston was up and down, with them going on a 5-game win streak and then suddenly losing 4 in a row. Since Houston wasn't looking like a contender, at the trade deadline they shockingly traded their center Clint Capella and received Robert Covington. And this meant they had no center, and their tallest player was a 6'9" small forward in Covington. Going into the playoffs, Houston was the 4th seed, and in the first round they defeated the Oklahoma City Thunder, and in that series Russell Westbrook did not play good. But in the second round versus the Lakers, Houston got destroyed, losing in 5 games. With Houston losing embarrassingly, this season can't be viewed as a win at all. Russ, who was the player who they traded for, played bad for most of the playoffs and didn't mesh well with Harden. I give this offseason grade a C+, because although Houston acquired a top 15 player in Russ, they got Russ, who is one of the biggest contracts in the league, and Russ has shown that he is not as good in the playoffs. So Houston, with this move, has made themselves stuck in place, because it will be difficult to trade Russ, and if they keep Russ, I can't see them being even a top 5 team in the West, with the Warriors returning and other teams improving. The next transaction we will be talking about is CP3 to OKC, where Houston basically traded Russell Westbrook, their franchise player, for an old Chris Paul. When this trade happened, most thought Paul would get traded and that OKC would be one of the teams competing for the worst record in the NBA, not the playoffs. But this season, OKC surprised every single person, with them being the 5th seed. And when ESPN gave them a 0.2% chance to make the playoffs, and then they made the playoffs, you know this was surprising. In the playoffs, OKC faced Houston in the first round and lost in a hard 7-game series. A series where if a few plays went different for OKC, they could have advanced to the second round. If I had to give this a quick grade, I would give it an A+, because OKC became a playoff team and got a mentor to teach some of their younger guys. OKC also isn't a big market, so if they were really bad, they could have possibly lost a lot of money and not have a lot of fans. But since they were competitive, it helped them a lot. Even if in the future OKC trades him and rebuilds, this is still a good trade due to Chris leaving a culture. The next trade we will talk about is the Lakers trading for Anthony Davis. The Lakers traded a lot for him, giving up Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, and multiple first-round picks. When this trade was first made, it was mostly viewed positively, but there was a select few who thought the Lakers gave up too much for him and still viewed them to be the less superior team to the Clippers. In the regular season with AD, the Lakers had the second best record and they were just as dominant all season. But even though they proved to be one of the best teams, so many people thought the Clippers were still the better team. In the first round, they defeated the 8th seed Portland Trail Blazers in 5, and then in the second round, they faced the Houston Rockets and defeated them in 5 as well. And in the conference finals, they faced the Denver Nuggets and defeated them in 5 games as well. And then in the finals, they faced the Miami Heat and beat them in 6 games to win the championship. So I would definitely give this grade an A+, because if there's anything higher than that, they can get it, because that move led to the Lakers winning the championship. It is also going to make them a title contender for the next 3 to 5 seasons. So this is definitely a great trade. If you can make a trade that will help you win a championship, no matter how much you gave up, it's still an A+. Even if the Lakers don't win a championship again, this is still a great trade. Next transaction we will talk about is the Golden State Warriors signing D'Angelo Russell. When this trade was first made, people were initially confused to why the Warriors would sign a young guard when they already have Klay Thompson and Steph. But they soon realized the Warriors were going to trade him, and trade him is what they did. They sent him to Minnesota for Andrew Wiggins, and I give this signing an A- because they got Andrew Wiggins, who I think will be huge for them next season. And nothing negative came from the signing, but nothing clearly good came out from it as of now. Anyways guys, that's it for the video. Let me know if you agree with my grades, like the video to show support and help my channel grow. Also subscribe to my channel to help me reach 500 subscribers before the end of 2020, and comment on this video to start a conversation with me. Also check these 2 videos up above if you like this one, and I'm out.